The Spiritus Systems LV120 is by all means and measures a revolutionary design. Materials, compatibility, features, all of it. But it's $500. Anyways, I got a package, and inside is a $100 replica. So the question is, what did they cut to go from $500 all the way down to $100? I got this specific LV120 replica from the Tacti Leopard store on AliExpress. I chose this specific store because I already bought my AVS replica from them a couple years ago, and I really liked it. Now, if you want a full breakdown of what and where to buy from AliExpress, and maybe what some red flags are you should look out for, go check out the video up there later on. Great, we're not even 1 minute into the video and I already have to make an interlude. Anyways, I said that I bought the plate carrier off the Tactical Leopard store, but I think I fell into the very same trap that I would give you advice on in the AliExpress buyer's guide video, which is resellers. Because I think the plate carrier actually comes from the company WOSPORT, which is kind of like the OEM for a lot of replica stuff, and then other stores just sell at a slightly increased pricing. So yeah, great job lolling. Anyways, let's finally unpack this thing and see what's inside. Now mind you, I'm unboxing this for the first time as well, so I'm just as excited, if not more, than you guys are. Okay, so the first thing that I immediately notice is the material used here, because they use this kind of knockoff Tegris material. However, the real LV120 uses the curve material from Spiritus Systems, which is brown and not this carbon fiber look, which is something that I immediately noticed. But again, this costs a fifth of the original price. Okay, so this is everything that came with the package. Starting on the right side, we have the cummerbunds with the shoes or sleds that the original cummerbund has. However, as you can see right here, this thing lacks all of the integrity, structurally speaking, that the original one has, because this is cheap plastic and not curved material. But otherwise, the cummerbund looks good in terms of stitching. If there are any stitching bros out there who can give their experienced opinion on this, please do so down below. But overall, I think this looks fine. And same for the QD. I think this is also pretty good looking. Next up is what you actually use to install the cummerbunds. So bungee cord, these stoppers or mounts, and then obviously the tubes adapters, and these will be a pain to install any plate bags. Speaking of plate bags, here we have them. Let's look at them one by one. The front plate bag is looking fine so far. I'm actually really surprised by how good the multicam looks and the overall material feels. And if we look inside, we can see that this is some kind of X-Pack-like material, I want to say. I will get into more research on what material this exactly is later on, but so far I think this looks really fine. Same for the spacer mesh. This also looks fine. And then attached to the real plate bags also are the shoulder straps. The nice thing about this replica is that it actually comes with a shoulder QD. If you have watched the Spiritus Systems video, you know that the original one doesn't come with a shoulder QD. You need to buy that extra. However, I'm a big fan of shoulder QDs, so this is definitely a pro for me. Otherwise, the plate bag looks fine as well, with good stitching, but again, time will tell how well this will end up holding up. Anyways, let's finally put this thing together. Okay guys, I just got done setting this entire thing up, and I would definitely recommend using a multi-tool. I will not go into how to set it up. Spiritus Systems makes a really helpful and good video on that. So let's get into my first impression of how this feels. Now granted, I don't have anything on here yet, so there's no weight on here except my plates, which is a foam plate which is vented, and then a aluminium top plate to just give it some more rigidity. So there's not a lot of weight on here, but I really like this. Just out of the start, the plate carrier feels way more structural than my SPC, even though this also has a structural cummerbund, and I'm really liking it so far. And I didn't do anything fancy in terms of, setting it up and fitting it to my body. I just did the basic start, and as you can see, this thing already sits really well in terms of plate height or ride height for the plates for proper ballistic protection. And overall, I really like the freedom of movement and how this thing hugs the body. And now I'll just kit this out, bomb it out with all my stuff, and then see how it distributes, that weight and how it handles that. Now, one downside I can already mention is that I need to buy the Spiritus Systems radio pouch to actually put a radio wing behind my cummerbund, because my placard would sit right here, and then the cummerbund attaches behind the placard, and this just creates the problem to where, you know, I cannot put a radio wing via the Velcro on the front here and then put it behind my cummerbund. One way around this would be to, for example, use the Shaw Arc placard, which I had before, because there you can actually install these male tube adapters right on the placard, so then a radio wing could fit behind that, which is something I might look into. Anyways, let's bomb this entire thing out, but because it's already getting late and kind of dark, I think I'll see you guys tomorrow with the finished product. Okay, so I know I said see you tomorrow, but this is filmed 1 week after the original recording. Great job there again, Blowling. It's insane how you got 5,000 followers. Also, thanks for that, guys. Anyways, let's just quickly do a rundown here. So on the front, I have my Strict 3D prototype phone mount with the Strict 3D phone case to protect the lens. On the side of that, I have my Earmor PTT with the down lead for my amps already attached that I can just plug into my headset. That way I don't have the down lead dangling on my amps when I don't have them plugged in. Now the PTT is attached via bungee. I'm not too sure how secure it is, but so far it hasn't fallen off. The placard is the Haley TRMP placard. I've made several videos about that, but the reason I like it is because it's so scalable, as you can see here, and overall just a really slick and simple placard that allows for fast reloads. Moving to the sides, we have my FMA embedder pouch, which I use for, well, extra mags, smokes. It's pretty much a GP pouch for whatever else I might need to win the gunfight. Holy larpslop. Just behind it, I have my 8 fields, yes, 8 fields, tourniquet pouch, upside down, just another tourniquet in case I need to revive another teammate. On the right cummerbund, I have my Ferro GP. In there I keep a multi-tool, some hex keys, electrical tape, a lighter, zip ties, and extra batteries for everything on my kit. As you can see, everything I need to sustain my kit is in there. I really like it because it has the integrated bungee, which is nice to keep it low profile. Speaking of bungee, here are my trauma shears attached via a bungee so they don't fall out. A shout out to a person on my Discord server that told me this. You know who you are. It's actually a pretty decent idea. On the front plate bag, the last thing is my lens wipe from Hama. I don't think I need to explain what this is used for. Alright, now that we have that covered, let's move to the backside. Starting off with my Roll 1 IFAK, just with basic medical to, stabilize someone until the actual trained professionals arrive. Just above that I have some T-rail and nylon that I can reach with one hand to make some kind of makeshift carrying device or solution. Just above that is my Ferro banger back panel. In the bottom compartment I currently store a flag, but I could also house water, sustainment, extra mags, whatever. And then in the top are my 3D printed grenades. Video linked up right now in case you're interested. Good morning to all the people that started drifting asleep while watching this. Anyways, now that you're all back, let's talk about my radio setup. So right here we have my Baofeng UV32 in a Spiritus Systems radio pouch that goes over the buckle. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, we'll get to this in a second. Sadly, there's no padding in this pouch, so it kind of gets uncomfortable. I know, boo-hoo. And the PTT downlead cable is routed underneath my placard just to keep the snagging hazard to a minimum. Anyways, before we get into all the caveats and problems with this LV120, let's quickly hear my first impression after the game day was over. Okay, so quick first impression after the end of the game day. It was really comfortable, no hotspot at all. The only problem was that my radioing, because it's not padded, kind of pressured into my ribs, but that's fine. But overall, I have no pressure on my shoulders. It was not too hard or too unstretchy in terms of what the cummerbund does in terms of breathability. So overall, pretty good. And we'll look at the damage that it took or how it wore out when I'm back home. So, see ya. Okay, so if you remember last week's video, I did a plate carrier tier list, and the LV120 was an S tier. Now I'm not going into all the features that I mentioned there of why I like it so much, because I'd just be regurgitating stuff that I already said. If you're interested in why I like it so much, go check out that video. But everything in this video has led up to this very moment, where I actually, find out, or you find out, if I was right or I was wrong, and I wasted your time and my money. So let's get into it. Starting off with what I really like is the comfort of the plate carrier. And I have to move back for this, but the plate carrier generally feels like a cage hugging your body because of how it's set up and how the cummerbund is attached and genuinely works. And because the shoulder straps articulate, it is very easy for them to, form to your body when you change positions or something, which is something I can definitely appreciate, a lot. Another thing that I mentioned, and again, I won't go into detail too much here, is that it's compatible with a lot of stuff. So again, this is originally a Spiritus Systems plate carrier. In the front I have a placard that was made to work with Cry plate carriers, and in the back I have a Ferro back panel. But because this thing was designed with compatibility in mind, like a lot, you can actually take them with no adapters or anything, unlike other plate carriers. This fucking fly needs to fuck off right now. Now let's get to some negatives. The first negative that I will name is just at fault of the replica. So if you listen very closely, and you can also hear this in the video of the Gameday. Okay, so quick first impression after the end of the Gameday. It was. Do you hear that? That's squeaking. I'm not exactly sure where this comes from, but I'm convinced by now that it comes from the back of the Cummerbund, because the sleds that are in here move against the material and create this noise. This is definitely annoying, especially when you move. However, when I actually move in the game, I don't notice it, or genuinely I don't really notice it when wearing. Just when I really look out for it, that's when I notice it. But I have to say this because this is a review, and if I don't mention it, then I'd just be straight up lying to you. Now, another downside that I've mentioned like thrice now is the buckle system. So because you have to use the Spiritus Systems pouch with the buckle right here, it's a pain to actually get the cummerbund to fit because it's a free band. Everything is the same height. So the pouch, the buckle, and the cummerbund. And getting this thing at the right angle to slide into this is really fiddly and takes like a lot of time compared to other carriers, for example, my Cry SPC. This is not a full stop problem. I managed to work around it as well. It's definitely possible. And once you get a hang of it, it's pretty easy. But it's something to keep in mind when buying this thing. Now, before we get into the final verdict, let's quickly take a look at how the material and the stitching held up over the Gameday and all the time that I've run it by now. Now, I know this isn't a long-term review. I've only had this thing for like a week now, but I've handled enough plate carriers in my time airsofting and LARPing to know what a good and bad replica is just by looking at it. And combined with my experience in the past week, I can definitely say I'm surprised by how well it held up. But I would still advise you to take everything I say with a hefty pinch of salt. The type of salt that you put into a sauce for someone that you do not like. Anyways, the material overall has held up fine. There's no major stitching getting loose or any kind of material rubbing off. On the shoulder straps, mainly where the sling, rubs on it on the back side of the plate carrier because, I transition my rifle a lot or, let it hang loose on my sling. There's some stitching fraying a little bit, but nothing too major. But obviously I will keep you updated on this on my Instagram. But overall, everything seems fine and nothing too major. The material itself seems to be actual X-Pack material, especially when you wear it a long time and then you sweat and you touch the material. It's not like soaked with water. It's just slimy and glibberish because, well, the sweat is now on the material. Yummy. And not to speak of the structural integrity that X-Pack has, that also helps with, comfort, weight distribution, and overall fitment of the plates inside the plate bag. Speaking of material, the night vision performance is also pretty okay. So again, this is a $100 replica of a $500 plate carrier, and when compared to actual Cry licensed multicam, it held up fine, even under IR light shining directly at it from like 1 meter. This is pretty good news, and I'm really surprised as to how good this replica is for this price, even though the LV120 hasn't been out that long. Trust me, I've handled worse. I also want to mention that overall this plate carrier just looks really cool, and outside of the obvious telltale sign with the fake Tigris, this is a pretty well-looking replica. Now, if you want to look cool, you might need one of these patches that I have on my helmet right there. You can see it, like right there. And you can get these in the Sovereign Design UK store, link down below in the description. And if you use the code blowling_10, you get 10% off at checkout. Now, mind you, I do not get any money of this. I just like their stuff and they offered to do a discount code. Anyways, ad section over. And I'll spend the past like 10 minutes yapping on about this plate carrier and all the different features and experiences. But where does this leave us? Well, to quickly borrow a term that I've learned from Brass Facts, which is POU, so philosophy of use, the POU here is Airsoft or Milsim LARP. It's not real war, preparedness, or whatever, right? And I think that is really important to consider, because for real war or real steel stuff, this is obviously not a good option. I would not trust the plastic of the cummerbunds to hold the weight of actual, plates and all of the stuff that you put on there. But for Airsoft and Milsim, this is, in my opinion, the best option out there. Again, you pay $100 for such a good plate carrier design. But what I think is really important to mention here, and that I do not want to leave out, is that yes, for this money, you can get a better build quality plate. Why is it always overexposing so much? Fuck me. What I think is really important to mention here is that yes, you can get a better built plate carrier for that money. Something like the Emerson Gear JPC or a Krydex FCPC. However, you cannot get a better designed plate carrier for that money. So obviously a better built plate carrier has better materials and stitching, but a better design plate carrier has better compatibility with different stuff, breathability, and all of the stuff that I mentioned in my plate carrier tier list video. And I think that's what makes this LV120 so great. But if you say you want some more performance or durability out of it, you can upgrade it piecemeal by buying a aftermarket replica cummerbund of the Spiritus Systems LV120 cummerbund that uses actual curved material. These cost around 100 bucks a pop. So you would end up spending like 200 bucks on a pretty good LV120 replica. But in my opinion, you could also just then spend like 50 bucks more and get a pure tactical replica of the LV120, which is like a one-to-one replica, just with less, money for marketing and the, in general, like Spiritus tags. However, these are really rarely in stock. So if you can find them, snag them, but they're rarely in stock. So to round this out, the LV120, and yes, even this one is still a S-tier plate carrier, especially for Airsoft. Another reason why the LV120 is really interesting to me is because it has these pockets in the front plate bag. If I can find it, right here. I don't know if you can see it that well. These pockets right here. And I already tried it, but these things can fit the sleds from the SPC Cummerbund. And I think if our neurons connect here through the screen, you already know what I'm planning. So very soon, I will combine this plate carrier's cummerbund with these plate bags. And to be honest, I'm really stoked to see how it works because these little sleds inserts into the plate carrier give you a little bit more load bearing capacity. Please let me know what I missed down in the comments and give your experience on this. And also if you have a solution for my radioing problem. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. So until we see each other next time, LARP. Also, why is my fucking camera so overexposed today? What the fuck? It's not even that light out. It's like cloudy at best.